The DFARS mandate has been in the making for a couple of years now. I believe the real catalyst was the cybersecurity breaches that we've been seeing in the last couple of years, including some of the federal agencies that have been impacted by those attacks and the breaches, and the government contractors involved in supporting those federal agencies. So in the process of doing postmortem analysis, there was a sense in the federal agency community that they need to require their partners, the federal government contractors, in this case the DoD contractors, to demonstrate strong compliance around information security controls so that they can be assured that they have closed all the gaps and the loopholes and there are no weakest links in the security lifecycle. The basic requirements are a DoD contractor needs to demonstrate compliance with 110 controls as listed in the NIST Special Publications 800-171, which is around security and privacy of data, specifically around non-classified control information, what you also call it CUI, controlled unclassified information. And the other basic element of this mandate is that the DoD contractors need to be able to identify and communicate within 72 hours of detection of any cybersecurity incident that their environment may have encountered, irrespective of whether there was a CUI breach or a UCTI breach as part of that incident. There are three main clauses to this DFARS mandate. One is the 252.204.7008, which is basically indicating that government contractors need to safeguard their information systems. The second one is 252.204.7009, which is around limited disclosure of third-party incidents or disclosure of information in the event they were hacked or breached. And the third one is 252.204.7012, which is the basic main clause that says how does a DoD contractor safeguard controlled unclassified information and be able to also provide cyber reporting to the DoD in the event they do get breached. Cover defense information is unclassified information that is provided on behalf of DoD or collected, used, stored, transmitted by the DoD contractor to support the performance of the contract. Overall, CDI and CUI is very broad. So NARA, the National Archives, has come out with various categories and subcategories to help DoD contractors essentially navigate the realm of what would constitute as CUI or CDI information. I generally tell my clients or prospects that if you do not have a clear understanding of what CDI or CUI is for your specific contract, it's better to confirm and clarify with your contracting officer. DFARS clause by December 31st, 2017. That said, there are some new contracts that are coming out that are being awarded to DoD contractors that may, depending on the contract language, require compliance or demonstration of compliance sooner than December 31st, 2017. The mandate requires DoD contractors to demonstrate compliance to NIST 800-171 controls. There are 110 controls listed in that publication. And what DoD requires the contractors to do is to assess against those 110 controls and see whether they have measures in place that would essentially help them meet those requirements. And where they don't have measures in place, they need to come up with a remediation plan so that they can demonstrate at a certain point in future that they are going to be in compliance with those requirements, and hence the entire NIST 800-171 publication. What they also need to do is make sure that they are able to identify, communicate, and handle security incidents and be able to report those security incidents and breaches within 72 hours to the Department of Defense Crime Center, what we call the DC-3, using a DoD-issued medium assurance certificate. As the definition of covered defense information, as we covered that, is any information that is unclassified, but it is collected, used, stored, transmitted, processed in performance of a particular contract. So if a DoD contractor is storing or inputting any covered defense information in their accounting system, then their accounting system automatically becomes one of the in-scope system for compliance with this DFARS mandate. If DoD contractors cannot demonstrate compliance by December 31st, 2017, what they need to do is they need to communicate and contact their contracting officer and let them know that they are not going to be able to demonstrate compliance with all the 110 controls, and let them know which controls they are falling short of in terms of compliance. They also need to share with the contracting officer and potentially the OCIO's office within Department of Defense their plan of actions and milestones that should outline their remediation activities and their remediation plan that will help them obtain compliance with those requirements that they're falling short on. And this needs to be communicated in writing along with submission of their package, either a self-assessment package or an independent assessment package based on what their contract terms require, and follow up with their contracting officer to ensure that they have received it. And if they have any questions around their POAM or their security assessment report, that they should be able to provide responses to them. In the perfect world, yes, that is correct, where you would hope that the contract would clearly outline what, for that particular contract or that particular service, what a covered defense information is and should be. However, it's not always very clear, and at many times on many fronts what I've seen is it's ambiguous, and the definitions in terms of what is truly a CDI for that particular contract is not very clear and it's vague. In those cases, I suggest and I always recommend my clients and my prospects to reach out to the contracting officer and get it clarified in writing what a covered defense information would be for that particular contract. A contracting officer may or may not be able to respond to that information right away, but they certainly should be able to provide clarifications and get some answers or responses by further communicating with their DoD counterparts and their OCIO's office within the federal agencies of the DoD. Government contractors also may have various contracts, so each contract could have different covered defense information. So it's very important for DoD contractors and government contractors in general to make sure that they understand what is CDI for what particular contract. That's a good question. In fact, DoD came out with more clarification in October of 2016, clarifying that if DoD contractors are indeed leveraging cloud-based solutions to support the DoD contract, then they should make sure that the cloud-based solution is FedRAMP moderate accredited. If it is FedRAMP moderate accredited, that means that particular cloud solution has undergone the FedRAMP authorization and has undergone the information security compliance requirements of FedRAMP at a moderate impact level, which could be more stringent than the NIST 800-171 110 controls. This mandate is applicable to prime contractors and subcontractors. So the subcontractors are required to demonstrate compliance with NIST 800-171 in the same manner as a prime contractor would be. And in many cases, it's a prime contractor's responsibility to make sure that their subcontractors can demonstrate compliance and are in compliance with these requirements. I have many clients who are prime contractors who are developing vendor management programs, and as part of their program, they are flowing down these requirements either in the form of survey questions, either in the form of packages that the subcontractors have to respond to and also provide evidence to. And in some cases, prime contractors are actually going and auditing the subcontractors to make sure that they are able to demonstrate compliance. And it's not just demonstrating compliance with the NIST 800-170-110 controls. It's also being able to identify and notify in the event a subcontractor has been breached or there is a cybersecurity incident. The same requirements of 72 hours applies to a subcontractor as well, and they have to directly communicate this to the DC3 and to the prime contractors. If the vendor, or in this case, in this example, the vendor that is developing the accounting system that is leveraged by DoD contractors, if I'm a DoD contractor and if I am leveraging an accounting system that does not meet all the controls within NIST 800-171 for whatever reason, I would communicate with the vendor and see if there's a plan to become compliant. 2, if it is not absolutely required, do not put the CDI information in the accounting system, which will not bring the accounting system in scope from a compliance standpoint. And the last resort is if they absolutely have to put the CDI information in the accounting system for billing or invoicing purposes, and if the vendor cannot demonstrate compliance, then the DoD contractor may have to look at a vendor that can meet the FedRAMP moderate accreditation so that they can demonstrate compliance with this mandate.